That was the crowd that greeted conservative writer Ben Shapiro as he was attempting to give a speech at the Los Angeles campus of California State University. Inside the lecture hall where he had been invited, it went like this. Watch.
Folks, if you're watching on the live stream, the waves of students that you see entering right now are being sneaked in. Because in America in 2016, you have to use the back door if you want to participate in free speech. You get to block the front door if you're a member of the left. And this is how it's written. And there it is, gang. Guess what? You know what? They're not going to stop us.
Ben Shapiro is editor-in-chief at dailywire.com. Ben, great to see you. So they invited you there, this young group, and the university was not happy about it, initially tried to stop it. One professor in particular was ripping down the flyers, threatening students for posting them, but you showed up. Take it from there.
Yeah, well, the president of the university attempted to cancel the speech, and I told him to screw himself. I was coming anyway because that was a violation of free speech rights. About an hour and a half before I was scheduled to come to campus, I didn't know if they were going to try to arrest me or something. He backed down and he said, we'll hold the event. We'll make sure there's enough security that it's safe. I started getting messages on my text and through Twitter that there was violence going down, that there was a huge crowd. By the time we got there were helicopters, cops everywhere. Every single entrance and exit, except for one, had been barricaded and blocked by the students. The police were doing nothing to actually move the students and the protesters so that people who wanted to hear could get in. And by the time I got in, I had to be escorted in not only by my own security, but by an armed coterie of uniformed police officers. And they were sneaking all of the students in 4 at a time through a back door the protesters hadn't yet discovered. And so over the course of the speech, people were coming in.
Public university, they don't understand anything about First Amendment, which is the answer to speech you do not like is not less speech, it's more speech. You don't shut down the initial speech. You have your own event. You offer your own viewpoints. But they were rows deep, threatening you. People were getting pushed around, and the people who wanted to get in to see you were getting stopped by the cops, apparently, you say, under directions from the university?
So basically what I say is that the police officers were doing nothing. They've been told by the university to not move any of the protesters who had locked arms and were blocking off the door so nobody could get through. And there's plenty of video on Instagram and YouTube of these people who are attempting to just get in to listen, being pushed around by members of the audience who are screaming at them, cursing at them, pushing them, assaulting them. A reporter from Breitbart was assaulted 3 times. A man who is disabled with nerve damage, he was assaulted by folks who were protesting. It truly was the fascist left at work.
I take it no apology was forthcoming.
No. No, of course not. The only apology they wanted was an apology from me, and then from the president for allowing me to speak in the first place. Again, I'm a California taxpayer. I pay for all these dolts to go to college here and all these professors to protest and try to tear down flyers. But, you know, this is a blatant violation of free speech principles, and more than that, it's just more evidence that there is a movement within the left, a very hardcore fascist movement within the left to shut down speech that they disagree with and to punish physically people who they don't like. And that's why at the very end, I turned to the students and I said, do you want to go out there and confront some of these protesters? And I was told by the police officers, if you do that, there could actually be a riot. They said, we don't have the capacity to protect you or the other students. And I'm talking about 10 uniformed officers at the time who were scheduled to protect me.
Professor Robert Weide, W-E-I-D-E, when people were placing flyers on the board, he apparently went out and tore down the flyers, called campus security, and called the students fascists who wanted to hear you speak. Ben, thank you for being here.
Thanks so much.
Taking your thoughts on that. Facebook.com/The Kelly File. Joining us now with more on the Ben Shapiro situation, Judge Andrew Napolitano, who's our Fox News senior judicial analyst. So does he have a lawsuit against that school, public university, shutting down first speech?
Of course he does. The evidence that he was silenced because of the content of his speech is overwhelming. And while the government can do things for public safety, it cannot do something, silence you because it doesn't like your message. If this were a private university, it'd be a different story. This is the government-owned property. The Supreme Court has said not only can it not silence him, it has a duty to protect him so that he can say what he's brought there to say and the people who want to hear him can hear his words.
The irony is he was trying to deliver a message about the ridiculousness of safe spaces and microaggressions and all these trigger warnings that college students need. Right. And they're so sensitive they can't even hear the other side on that. And the professors were behind them.
This is essentially a speech about the virtues of the freedom of speech. And that's what was silenced.
And that they had to shut down.